Hello everyone, so let us begin a new journey in the field of decision making and problem solving through this video. So let us move on to the first slide. We'll first read the slide and then explain. Introduction to decision making. Decision making is a fundamental process in personal, academic, and professional life. It involves identifying a problem or opportunity, evaluating available alternatives, and choosing the most appropriate course of action to achieve desired goals. Every day, individuals and organizations make decisions that influence outcomes, relationships, performance, and long-term success. From simple routine choices to complex strategic decisions, the quality of decision making plays a critical role in determining effectiveness and sustainability. In an organizational context, decision making is closely linked to planning, problem solving, and leadership. Managers and leaders are constantly required to make decisions related to resource allocation, strategy, operations, and people management. Effective decision making helps organizations respond to change, manage risks, and seize opportunities in a competitive and dynamic environment. Poor decisions, on the other hand, can lead to inefficiency, conflict, financial loss, and loss of credibility. So from this, we can understand that decision making is a vital process that influences every aspect of personal, academic, and professional life. It refers to the systematic approach of identifying a problem or opportunity, analyzing possible alternatives, and selecting the most appropriate course of action to achieve specific goals. Every decision, whether small or significant, has consequences that shape outcomes, relationships, and future opportunities. From everyday routine choices to complex strategic decisions, the quality of decision making determines effectiveness, efficiency, and long-term success. In daily life, individuals constantly make decisions that affect their personal growth, education, and careers. Simple decisions such as managing time, choosing priorities, or responding to challenges can have lasting effects. In academic settings, decision making helps students select learning strategies, manage workloads, and solve problems logically. The ability to make thoughtful decisions build confidence, responsibility, and critical thinking skills, which are essential for personal development. In the organizational context, decision making plays a central role in management and leadership. Managers are responsible for making decisions related to planning, organizing, staffing, directing, and controlling organizational activities. These decisions include allocating resources, setting goals, formulating strategies, managing operations, and leading people. Effective decision making enables organizations to adapt to changing environments, respond to market demand, and maintain a competitive advantage. It also supports risk management by helping leaders anticipate challenges and minimize potential losses. The quality of decisions directly affects organizational performance. Sound decisions improve productivity, strengthen teamwork, and enhance customer satisfaction. They promote clarity, coordination, and accountability within the organization. In contrast, poor decision making can result in inefficiencies, employee dissatisfaction, conflicts, financial losses, and damage to an organization's reputation. Repeated poor decisions may weaken trust and reduce overall credibility. Decision making is influenced by several factors, including availability, information, time constraints, experiences, values, and organizational culture. It can be rational and analytical, relying on data and systematic evaluation, or intuitive based on judgment and experiences. Often, the most effective decisions combine both approaches. Involving others in the decision-making process also improves acceptance and quality by incorporating diverse perspectives. In conclusion, decision-making is a critical skill that determines success at both individual and organizational levels. Developing strong decision-making abilities helps individuals and leaders choose wisely, solve problems effectively, and achieve sustainable results in an increasingly complex and dynamic world. So this is all that can be said from this slide. Now we'll move on to the next slide. We'll first read the slide and then explain. Steps in the decision-making process. Identify the problem or decision. The first step is clearly recognizing that a decision is needed. This involves defining the problem or opportunity accurately. A well-defined problem helps avoid confusion and ensures that efforts are focused on the right issue. Gather relevant information. Once the problem is identified, relevant information is collected. This may include data, facts, past experiences, expert opinions, and constraints such as time, cost, and resources. Accurate and sufficient information improves the quality of the decision. Identify possible alternatives. In this step, different courses of action are generated. Brainstorming multiple alternatives help avoid narrow thinking and increases the chance of finding an effective solution. Evaluate the alternatives. Each alternative is carefully analyzed by comparing its advantages, disadvantages, risks, and possible outcomes. Factors such as feasibility, cost, impact, and alignment with goals are considered during evaluation. Select the best alternative. After evaluation, the most suitable option is chosen. So, from this, we can understand that the decision-making process is a systematic approach that helps individuals and organizations make thoughtful, informed, and effective choices. Following clear steps reduces uncertainty, improves judgment, and increases the likelihood of achieving desired outcomes. Each step plays an important role in ensuring that decisions are well-reasoned and practical. The first step is identifying the problem or decision. This involves recognizing that a choice must be made and clearly defining the problem or opportunity. A well-defined problem sets the direction for the entire process. If the problem is unclear or misunderstood, efforts may be wasted on addressing the wrong issue. Clearly identifying the decision helps focus attention on what truly needs to be resolved and prevents confusion at later stages. A second step is gathering relevant information. Once the problem is identified, decision makers collect data and facts related to the issue. This information may include past experiences, research findings, expert opinions, and constraints such as time, cost, and available resources. Accurate and sufficient information is essential for sound decision making as it provides a factual basis for evaluating alternatives and reduces uncertainty and risk. The third step is identifying possible alternatives. At this stage, different courses of actions are generated. Brainstorming is often used to encourage creativity and open thinking. Considering multiple alternatives prevents narrow or biased decision making and increases the chances of finding an effective and innovative solution. Even unconventional options can provide valuable insights during this stage. The fourth step is evaluating the alternatives. Each option is carefully analyzed by comparing its advantages, disadvantages, risks, and potential outcomes. Factors such as feasibility, cost, impact, and alignment with organizational or personal goals are considered. This step helps decision makers understand the consequences of each alternative and identify which option offers the greatest benefit with the least risk. The final step is selecting the best alternative. After thorough evaluation, the most suitable option is chosen. This choice should best address the problem, align with goals, and fit within available resources and constraints. Selecting the best alternative reflects a balance between logic, evidence, and judgment. In conclusion, the decision-making process provides a structured framework for making effective choices. By carefully following these steps, individuals and organizations can improve decision quality, reduce mistakes, and achieve successful outcomes. So this is all that can be said from this slide. Now we'll move on to the next slide. We'll first read the slide and then explain. Understanding problem solving. Problem solving is the process of identifying a challenge, analyzing its causes, and developing effective solutions to overcome it. It is a vital skill in personal life, education, and the workplace, as individuals and organizations constantly face situations that require thoughtful responses. Effective problem solving enables people to handle difficulties logically, make informed decisions, and achieve desired outcomes. At its core, problem solving begins with clearly understanding the problem. Many issues persist not because solutions are unavailable, but because the problem itself is poorly defined. Recognizing the root cause rather than just the symptoms is essential for a long-term resolution. This requires careful observation, questioning, and analysis of the situation. So from this, we can understand that problem solving is a systematic and thoughtful process through which individuals or organizations identify challenges, analyze their underlying causes, and develop effective solutions. It is a critical skill in personal life, education, and professional settings, as people constantly encounter situations that require decisions and actions to overcome obstacles. Strong problem-solving ability helps individuals think logically, respond creatively, and achieve desired outcomes even in complex or uncertain situations. At its core, problem-solving begins with clearly understanding the problem. Many problems persist not because solutions do not exist, but because the real issue has not been properly identified. Often people focus on surface-level symptoms rather than the root causes. leading to temporary or ineffective solutions. Understanding the true nature of the problem requires careful observation, asking the right questions, and analyzing the situation from multiple perspectives. This step lays the foundation for all further actions. Once the problem is clearly defined, the next aspect of problem solving involves analyzing the causes and constraints. This means examining why the problem exists, what factors contribute to it, and what limitations may affect potential solutions. Constraints such as time, cost, resources, and organizational policies must be considered. Analyzing these elements helps in understanding the scope of the problem, prevents unrealistic or impractical solutions. Problem solving also requires generating possible solutions. This stage encourages creative and critical thinking as multiple alternatives are explored rather than setting for the first idea. Brainstorming, discussion, and past experiences are often used to identify different approaches. Considering a variety of options increases the likelihood of finding an effective and innovative solution that addresses the problem comprehensively. Another important element of problem solving is evaluating and selecting the best solution. Each potential solution is assessed based on its feasibility, risks, benefits, and long-term impact. Effective problem solving considers not only immediate results but also future consequences. The chosen solution should align with goals, available resources, and ethical standards. Finally, problem solving involves implementing the solution and reviewing the outcome. Putting the solution into action requires planning, communication, and coordination. After implementation, the results should be monitored to determine whether the problem has been resolved. If the outcome is not satisfactory, adjustments may be needed. In conclusion, understanding problem solving means recognizing it as a structured and continuous process. By clearly defining problems, analyzing causes, exploring alternatives, and evaluating results, individuals and organizations can address challenges effectively and improve overall performance. So this is all that can be said from this slide. Now we'll move on to the next slide. We'll first read the slide and then explain. Problem solving techniques. Problem solving techniques are structured methods used to analyze issues and identify effective solutions. Apply the right technique helps individuals and organizations approach problems logically, creatively, and efficiently. Some commonly used problem solving techniques are outlined below. Brainstorming. Brainstorming involves generating a wide range of ideas without immediate evaluation or criticism. The goal is to encourage creativity and explore multiple possible solutions. After ideas are listed, they are reviewed and refined to identify the most practical options. Root cause analysis. This technique focuses on identifying the underlying cause of a problem rather than addressing surface symptoms. Tools such as the 5 whys method help trace the problem back to its origin, ensuring long-term and effective solutions. SWOT analysis. SWOT, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats analysis helps evaluate internal and external factors related to a problem. It is especially useful in strategic and organizational problem solving. Trial and error. Trial and error involves testing possible solutions until the correct one is found. While it may take time, this method is useful when other techniques are not feasible or when learning through experimentation is acceptable. So from this, we can understand that problem-solving techniques are systematic approaches used to understand problems, analyze their causes, and develop effective solutions. These techniques help individuals and organizations deal with challenges in a structured, logical, and efficient manner. By applying appropriate problem-solving methods, decision makers can reduce uncertainty, improve creativity, and increase the likelihood of achieving successful outcomes. Different problems require different techniques, and selecting the right one depends on the nature, complexity, and the context of the issue. One of the most widely used problem-solving techniques is brainstorming. Brainstorming focuses on generating a large number of ideas in a free and open environment without immediate judgment or criticism. The objective is to encourage creativity and allow participants to think beyond conventional solutions. During brainstorming sessions, all ideas are welcomed regardless of how practical they may initially seem. Once ideas are generated, they are evaluated and refined to identify the most feasible and effective solutions. Brainstorming is particularly used in team settings as it promotes collaboration, diverse perspectives, and innovation. Another important technique is root cause analysis. This method emphasizes identifying the underlying causes of a problem rather than merely addressing its symptoms. Solving only surface level issues can result in recurring problems, whereas understanding the root cause leads to long-term solutions. Tools such as the 5 whys technique are commonly used, where the question why is repeatedly asked until the fundamental cause is discovered. Root cause analysis is especially valuable in quality management, operations, and process improvement, as it helps prevent future failures. SWOT analysis is a strategic problem-solving technique that examines both internal and external factors after a situation. SWOT stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Strengths and weaknesses are internal factors within an individual or organization, while opportunities and threats arise from the external environment. By conducting a SWOT analysis, decision makers gain a comprehensive understanding of their current position and can develop solutions that leverage strengths, address weaknesses, capitalize on opportunities, and minimize threats. This technique is commonly used in business planning, strategy formulation, and organizational decision making. Another practical approach is the trial and error method. This technique involves testing different solutions until the most effective one is found. Although it may be time consuming and less structured, trial and error can be useful when problems are unfamiliar or when experimentation is acceptable. It allows individuals to learn from mistakes and adjust their approach based on real-world feedback. Trial and error is often used in technical fields, scientific research, and learning environments where experience plays a key role. In addition to these methods, effective problem solving often combines multiple techniques rather than relying on a single approach. The choice of technique depends on factors such as time constraints, available information, complexity of the problem, and organizational culture. By using appropriate problem solving techniques, individuals and organizations can improve decision quality, reduce risks, and achieve sustainable solutions. So this is all that can be said from this slide. Now we'll move on to the next slide. We'll first read the slide and then explain. Decision-making models. Decision-making models are structured frameworks that help individuals and organizations make effective and rational choices. These models guide decision makers through systematic steps, reduce uncertainty, and improve the quality of decisions. Different models are used depending on the situation, complexity, and availability of information. Rational decision-making model. This model follows a logical step-by-step process. It involves identifying the problem, gathering information, evaluating alternatives, selecting the best option, implementing the decision, and reviewing the outcome. It assumes complete information and objective evaluation and is best suited for clear, well-defined problems. Bounded rationality model. Proposed by Herbert Simon, this model recognizes that decision makers have limited information, time, and cognitive capacity. Instead of seeking the perfect solution, individuals choose a satisfying option, one that is good enough under the circumstances. So from this, we can understand that decision-making models are systematic frameworks that help individuals and organizations make thoughtful, consistent, and effective choices. These models provide a structured approach to analyzing problems, evaluating alternatives, and selecting appropriate actions. By using decision-making models, decision makers can reduce uncertainty, minimize bias, and improve the overall quality of decisions. Different models are applied depending on the nature of the problem, the level of risk involved, time constraints, and the availability of information. Decision-making models are systematic frameworks that help individuals and organizations analyze situations, evaluate options, and choose the most appropriate course of action. By providing a structured approach, these models reduce uncertainty, improve clarity, and enhance the quality of decisions. They are especially useful in managerial and organizational contexts where decisions can have long-term consequences. Among the various models, the rational decision-making model and the bounded reality model are two widely discussed approaches, each suited to different conditions and constraints. The rational decision-making model is based on logic, objectivity, and a step-by-step process. It begins with clearly identifying the problem, followed by gathering relevant and complete information. Decision makers then generate and evaluate all possible alternatives, comparing them based on established criteria such as cost, benefits, and feasibility. The best alternative is selected, implemented, and later reviewed to assess its effectiveness. This model assumes that decision makers have access to complete information, sufficient time, and the ability to objectively evaluate every option. As a result, it is best suited for clear, structured, and well defined problems where outcomes can be reasonably predicted. While the rational model promotes thorough analysis and optimal solutions, it may be difficult to apply in real world situations where time, pressure, uncertainty, and human biases exist. In contrast, the bounded rationality model proposed by Herbert Simon acknowledges the practical limitations faced by decision makers. According to this model, individuals operate under constraints such as limited information, limited time, and limited cognitive capacity. Because of these boundaries, it is often unrealistic to analyze every possible alternative or predict all consequences. Instead of striving for the optimal solution, decision makers look for a satisfying option, one that meets acceptable criteria and is good enough under the circumstances. This approach reflects how decisions are actually made in complex and dynamic environments. The bounded rationality model is especially relevant in fast-paced organizational settings where quick decisions are required and complete data may not be available. In summary, both models offer valuable insights into decision making. The rational model emphasizes careful analysis and optimal outcomes, while the bounded rationality model highlights realism and practicality. Effective decision makers understand the strengths and limitations of each model and apply them appropriately based on the situation, complexity, and availability of information. So, this is all that can be said from this slide. Now, we'll move on to the next slide. We'll first read the slide and then explain. Challenges in decision making and problem solving. Decision making and problem solving are critical skills, but they are often complex and challenging due to various internal and external factors. Understanding these challenges helps individuals and organizations improve the quality of their choices and solutions. One major challenge is lack of clear information. Decisions are often made with incomplete, outdated, or inaccurate data. When relevant information is missing or uncertain, it becomes difficult to identify the real problem or evaluate alternatives effectively, increasing the risk of poor outcomes. Another significant challenge is time pressure. In many situations, decisions must be made quickly, leaving little time for thorough analysis. Under pressure, individuals may rely on assumptions, intuitions, or past habits, which can lead to errors or overlooked consequences. So from this, we can understand that decision making and problem solving are essential skills in personal, academic, and professional life. However, they are often complex and challenging due to a variety of internal and external factors. Recognizing and understanding these challenges is important because it enables individuals and organizations to improve the quality of their decisions, minimize risks, and achieve better outcomes. Despite the availability of tools and frameworks, decision makers frequently face obstacles that affect judgment, accuracy, and effectiveness. One major challenge in decision making is the lack of clear and reliable information. Decisions are often based on incomplete, outdated, or inaccurate data. When essential information is missing or uncertain, it becomes difficult to clearly define the problem or evaluate possible alternatives. As a result, decision makers may rely on assumptions or guesses, which increases the likelihood of errors. In organizational settings, poor information flow, data overload, or miscommunication between departments can further complicate the situation. Without accurate information, even well-intentioned decisions can lead to ineffective or harmful outcomes. Another significant challenge is time pressure. In many real-world situations, decisions must be made quickly due to deadlines, emergencies, or competitive pressures. Limited time reduces the opportunity for thorough analysis, discussion, and evaluation of alternatives. Under such pressure, individuals may depend on intuition, past experiences, or habitual responses rather than careful reasoning. While intuition can sometimes be useful, excessive reliance on it may cause important factors to be overlooked. Time pressure can also lead to stress, which negatively affects concentration and judgment. Cognitive biases and emotional influences also pose serious challenges. Decision makers are not always fully rational. They are influenced by personal beliefs, preferences, fears, and emotions. Biases such as overconfidence, confirmation bias, or fear of failure can distort judgment and lead to flawed decisions. For example, individuals may ignore contradictory evidence or favor options that align with their existing views. Emotions like stress, anger, or excitement can further cloud thinking and reduce objectivity, especially in high stakes situations. Another challenge is complexity and uncertainty. Many problems involve multiple variables, interdependencies, and unpredictable outcomes. In such cases, it is difficult to anticipate all possible consequences of a decision. External factors such as economic changes, technological advancements, or social influences can add to this uncertainty. Complex problems often require balancing competing interests and making trade offs, which can be mentally demanding and increase the risk of mistakes. Finally, organizational and social pressures can affect decision making. Pressures from superiors, peers, or stakeholders may influence individuals to make decisions that prioritize short-term gains, approval, or conformity rather than long-term effectiveness. Fear of criticism or failure may discourage innovative or bold solutions. In conclusion, decision making and problem solving are challenging due to factors such as lack of information, time constraints, cognitive biases, emotional influences, complexity, and social pressures. By being aware of these challenges, individuals and organizations can adapt strategies such as better information management, critical thinking, and collaborative decision making to improve outcomes. So, this is all that can be said from this slide. Now, we'll move on to the next slide. We'll first read the slide and then explain. Best practices for effective decision making and problem solving. Effective decision making and problem solving are essential skills in personal, academic, and professional settings. Applying best practices helps individuals and organizations make informed choices, address challenges efficiently, and achieve desired outcomes. The following practices enhance clarity, reduce errors, and improve the overall quality of decisions and solutions. One of the most important best practices is clearly defining the problem. Many decisions fail because the real issue is misunderstood or confused with its symptoms. Taking time to analyze the situation, identify root causes, and clearly state the problem ensures that efforts are focused on solving the right issue. A well-defined problem sets a strong foundation for effective solutions. Another key practice is gathering accurate and relevant information. Decisions should be based on facts, data, and reliable sources rather than assumptions or emotions. Collecting sufficient information, including constraints such as time, cost, and resources, allows individuals to evaluate options realistically. However, it is also important to avoid information overload and focus on what is truly relevant. Effective decision making and problem solving are vital skills in personal, academic, and professional environments. Applying best practices enables individuals and organizations to make informed choices, manage challenges efficiently, and achieve desired outcomes. These practices improve clarity, reduce errors, and enhance the overall quality of decisions and solutions by promoting structured thinking and careful evaluation. One of the most important best practices is clearly defining the problem. Many decisions fail because the real issue is misunderstood or mistaken for its symptoms. Taking time to analyze the situation, identify root causes, and clearly articulate the problem ensures that efforts are directed towards the correct issue. A well-defined problem provides direction, prevents wasted resources, and forms a strong foundation for generating effective solutions. Another key practice is gathering accurate and relevant information. Sound decisions should be based on facts, data, and reliable sources rather than assumptions, opinions, or emotions. Collecting sufficient information about the situation, including constraints such as time, cost, risks, and available resources, helps decision makers realistically assess possible options. At the same time, it is important to avoid information overload by focusing only on data that is truly relevant to the decision at hand. Generating and evaluating multiple alternatives is also a critical best practice. Considering different options encourages creativity and prevents decision makers from settling too quickly on a single solution. Each alternative should be evaluated based on clear criteria such as feasibility, potential benefits, risks, and long-term impact. Comparing alternatives helps identify the most suitable option and reduce the likelihood of overlooking better solutions. Another important practice is involving others and encouraging collaboration. Seeking input from team members, experts, or stakeholders brings diverse perspectives and reduces individual bias. Collaborative decision making improves understanding, builds commitment, and increases the chances of successful implementation. Open communication and active listening are essential to making collaboration effective. Managing emotions and cognitive biases is equally important. Emotions such as stress, fear, or overconfidence can distort judgment and lead to poor decisions. Being aware of personal biases and practicing critical thinking helps maintain objectivity. Taking time to reflect and question assumptions and consider opposing viewpoints supports more balanced and rational decisions. Finally, implementing and reviewing the decisions completes the process. Once a decision is made, it should be implemented with clear planning and responsibility. Monitoring outcomes and reviewing results help identify lessons learned and areas for improvement. This feedback strengthens future decision making and problem solving efforts. In conclusion, effective decision making and problem solving depends on best practices such as defining the problem clearly, gathering relevant information, evaluating alternatives, collaborating with others, managing biases, and reviewing outcomes. Applying these practices consistently leads to better decisions, improved efficiency, and long-term success. So this is all that can be said from this slide. Now we'll move on to the next slide. So as you can see, this is the conclusion. So we can conclude that decision making and problem solving are fundamental skills that significantly influence success in personal, academic, and professional life. They provide individuals and organizations with the ability to identify challenges, analyze situations, evaluate alternatives, and choose effective courses of action. Whether applied to routine daily tasks or complex strategic issues, sound decision making and problem solving help reduce uncertainty, improve efficiency, and achieve desired goals. Organizations that emphasize these skills are better equipped to respond to challenges, manage risks, and maintain long-term sustainability in a dynamic environment. Effective decision making and problem solving require a clear and accurate understanding of the problem at hand. Without properly defining the issue, even well-planned actions can lead to ineffective or counterproductive results. Access to accurate and relevant information further strengthens the decision-making process by enabling informed analysis and realistic evaluation of alternatives. In addition, critical and creative thinking plays a vital role in exploring different perspectives, generating innovative solutions, and avoiding rigid or biased thinking. Together, these elements help decision makers select options that balance feasibility, effectiveness, and long-term impact. Another important aspect of decision making and problem solving is the ability to assess risks and consequences. Every decision carries a degree of uncertainty, and understanding potential outcomes allows individuals and organizations to prepare for challenges and minimize negative impacts. This requires not only analytical skills but also judgment, experience, and ethical consideration. Responsible decision makers consider how their choices affect others, ensuring that solutions are not only effective but also fair and sustainable. Decision making and problem solving are not one-time actions but continuous and evolving processes. As environments change and new information becomes available, decisions may need to be reviewed and adjusted. Learning from past experiences, reflecting on outcomes, and adapting strategies are essential for improvement. This continuous learning approach helps individuals and organizations become more resilient and responsive to change. In today's fast-paced and complex world, strong decision-making and problem-solving abilities are more important than ever. By developing these skills and applying structured approaches, individuals and organizations can navigate uncertainty, overcome obstacles, and create opportunities for growth and success. Ultimately, effective decision-making and problem-solving serve as the foundation for informed choices, improved performance, and long-term achievement. Furthermore, the development of strong decision-making and problem-solving skills enhances leadership effectiveness and teamwork within organizations. Leaders who make thoughtful, well-reasoned decisions inspire confidence and trust among employees, fostering a positive work culture and encouraging collaboration. These skills also support innovation, as individuals who are comfortable analyzing problems and exploring alternatives are more likely to propose creative and practical solutions. In academic and personal contexts, effective decision making helps individuals set priorities, manage time efficiently, and make responsible choices that align with long term goals. By continuously strengthening these abilities through practice, reflection, and learning, individuals and organizations can build resilience, adapt to evolving challenges, and sustain success in an increasingly uncertain and competitive environment. So this is all that can be said from this slide, or rather from this video. I hope this video was engaging and helpful for you. For more such helpful videos, please subscribe the channel.